They say, when the forest calls your name 3 times, you must answer. But when beauty appears where no path has been walked, you must ask yourself, what price are you willing to pay for your heart's desire? This is the story of Ademola, a young farmer who got everything he wished for, and lost it all in a single moment. In the village of Ilara, where the great baobab trees stand like ancient guardians and the river flows silver under the moon, there lived a young man called Ademola. He was strong and clever, with a smile that could charm the birds from the trees. His yam harvest was always the finest. His compound was clean and well kept, but Ademola had one weakness: pride. Every maiden in the village hoped he would notice her. Zainab brought him fresh palm wine. Amara cooked him pepper soup, so delicious it made his eyes water with joy. Even the chief's daughter, Folake, sent him gifts wrapped in fine cloth, but Ademola refused them all. "I will marry no ordinary woman," he announced at the village square one evening. "My wife must be more beautiful than the sunrise, more graceful than the gazelle. She must be perfect in every way." The elders shook their heads. Ademola's mother wept. They knew that pride opens a door that wisdom keeps locked, and in the forest, something heard his words and smiled. 3 moons passed. Then, on the morning of the harvest festival, she appeared. No one saw her arrive. She was simply there, at the edge of the village, standing beneath the flame tree, as though she had always existed. Her skin glowed like polished bronze. Her eyes held the depth of the night sky. When she moved, it was as if the air itself made way for her beauty. She wore a wrapper of indigo cloth, so fine it seemed woven from shadows and starlight. Around her neck hung a single cowrie shell on a leather cord. Her name, she said, was Ife. Ademola saw her and forgot how to breathe. Within days, he had approached her. Within a week, he had asked her to be his wife. The entire village was astonished. Where had this woman come from? Which family did she belong to? No one could say. Ademola's mother begged him to wait, to ask questions, to seek the counsel of the village diviners, but Ademola heard only the thunder of his own heart. He saw only Ife's smile. Ife agreed to marry him, but she had one condition. "One simple rule. In our home," she said softly, her voice like wind through tall grass, "there will be one room you must never enter. Not at dawn, not at dusk, not at midnight. Never question what I do there. Never try to look inside. If you honor this promise, I will be yours forever." Ademola agreed without hesitation. They married the following week beneath the full moon. For many months, Ademola lived as a man in a dream. Ife was everything he had imagined and more. She prepared meals that tasted of honey and sunshine. She kept their compound, so spotless the earth itself seemed grateful. She sang songs that made even the crickets fall silent to listen. When she walked through the village, people stopped and stared, unable to believe such beauty existed, but Ademola began to notice strange things. Ife never ate in front of him. She said she had already eaten, always, though he never saw evidence of food or cooking. She bathed only when he was away, and her skin always smelled of rain and wild flowers, never of the soap the other women used. And then there was the room. Every night, after darkness claimed the sky, Ife would disappear into that forbidden room. Ademola would hear sounds from within, soft whispers rustling like feathers. Sometimes a melody so beautiful it made his chest ache. Sometimes silence, so deep it pressed against his ears. He told himself he didn't care. He told himself love meant trust. The dry season came, harsh, and crops withered, tempers grew short in the heat. One evening, after a difficult day in the fields, Ademola returned home exhausted. Ife greeted him with her usual smile, but something in him had shifted. The question he had buried for months clawed its way to the surface. "Ife," he said, "what do you do in that room every night?" Her smile faded like the last light of day. You promised never to ask. I only want to understand my own wife. Is that so wrong? Some things exist beyond understanding. Some doors are meant to remain closed, but Ademola's pride burned hotter than his love. What are you hiding from me? Are you meeting someone else? Ife's eyes filled with something that looked like sorrow. If you truly loved me, you would trust me. If you truly loved me, you would have no secrets. She turned away without another word and disappeared into the forbiddance room. The door closed with a sound like a sigh. Ademola stood alone in the darkness, his heart pounding with anger and shame and terrible, consuming curiosity. Midnight came, the village slept. And Ademola made his choice. He approached the forbiddance door. His hand trembled as he pushed the door open. The room was bathed in silver light, though there was no lamp, no candle, no moon visible through the window. And there, in the center of the room, was Ife, but not the Ife he knew. Her beautiful skin lay folded neatly on a wooden stool, empty as a discarded garment. And standing before the small mirror was a being of pure light and shadow. She had the form of a woman, but her edges shimmered and blurred. Her eyes glowed like dying stars. Wings of mist and moonlight spread from her shoulders, and when she moved, the air sang. She was spirit. She was magic. She was something the mortal world was never meant to hold. Ife turned and saw him. The look on her ethereal face was not anger, but grief, so profound it seemed to dim the very light around her. "Oh, Ademola," she whispered, and her voice echoed as if coming from a great distance. "What have you done?" Ademola fell to his knees, unable to speak, unable to think. Everything he believed about the world shattered in that single moment. "I am Ife," she continued, her form beginning to fade like smoke, daughter of the river and the wind, born of the space between dreams and waking. "I loved you, Ademola. I heard your wish for perfection, and I came to you, wrapped in mortal skin so that I might know what it means to be human. To be loved." Tears streamed down Ademola's face. "Please. I'm sorry. Sorry cannot unmake what has been seen. When a spirit reveals herself, the veil between worlds tears. I can no longer stay. The magic that bound me to this form is broken. No. Ife, please. I love you." She smiled then, sad and beautiful and fading. "You loved the idea of perfection. But you could not love me enough to trust me. Love without trust is a fire without warmth, Ademola. It gives light, but it cannot sustain life." The light grew brighter, so bright Ademola had to close his eyes. When he opened them again, the room was empty. Ive was gone. They found Ademola the next morning, sitting in the empty room, the cowrie shell clutched in his hands. His hair had turned white at the temples. His eyes held a look of profound loss. He never spoke of what he had seen. He could not. "How do you explain that you held a spirit's heart and crushed it with your own hands?" The village forgot about Ife, as villages forget all strange things with time. But Ademola never forgot. He lived the rest of his days alone, working his fields, helping his neighbors, giving generously to all who needed. He became known for his kindness, his humility, his wisdom. When young men came to him boasting of their demands for the perfect wife, he would smile sadly and say, "Be careful what you wish for. And if you are blessed with love, honor it. For once broken, it cannot be mended." Years later, when Ademola was old and his time on earth was ending, they say he whispered a name into the darkness. Some who stood by his bedside claimed they heard an answer, soft as wind through grass. Others said they saw, just for a moment, a light at the window that flickered like recognition. Moral lesson: pride and curiosity can destroy even the most precious gifts. Honor what you have been given, and never take blessings for granted.